The meeting room was silent except for the soft hum of life support systems. Around the oval table sat 12 beings, each from a different world, their bodies shaped by different stars and different evolutionary paths. None of them spoke. They were all watching the hologram playing in the center of the table. "Please," said the blue-skinned alien in the recording. Her 4 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of extreme stress in her species. "The Void Harvesters have already taken 3 of our outer colonies. Our home planet will be next. We have no weapons that can stop them. If anyone receives this message, we beg for help." Ambassador Krell touched a control, and the message paused. The Arcturian's slender fingers trembled slightly. He looked around at his fellow coalition members. "This is the 5th distress call from the Lumerian system this month," he said. His voice was soft, but carried across the room. "The harvesters are moving faster than we expected." "How many Lumerians have been lost?" asked Zenny, the plant-based representative from Virtus. "Early estimates suggest over 4 million, replied Krell. "And that number will grow. The harvesters don't just conquer. They consume. Entire planets stripped of resources. Nothing left alive." A murmur of distress passed through the council members. They were diplomats and scientists, not warriors. The Galactic Coalition had formed 300 years ago as a peaceful alliance, bringing together species that had evolved on gentle worlds. None of them had developed the biological tools or instincts for serious warfare. "What can we do?" asked Morrow, his gas-filled containment suit glowing faintly in the dim light. "Our ships are not built for battle. Our people have never known war." Silence fell again. The frozen image of the desperate Lumerian woman hung in the air between them. Then a voice spoke from the back of the room. "There might be someone who can help." All heads turned. Standing near the door was a small, gray-skinned being with large black eyes. Zell was the newest and youngest member of the Coalition's science team. Most of the council barely knew her name. "You have a suggestion, junior scientist?" Krell asked gently. Zill stepped forward nervously. "I've been studying the Forbidden Archives," she admitted. "The records of worlds we've quarantined." Ambassador Tella, the crystalline representative from Diamar, made a disapproving sound. "Those worlds are isolated for good reason, child." "Yes," Zyle agreed. "But there is one world. Classification Level 12. Several gasps filled the room. Level 12 was the highest danger rating in the Coalition system. "Earth," Zyle continued. "The inhabitants call themselves humans. They evolved on what we would consider a death world." "Deathworlders are just stories to scare younglings," Morrow objected. "No," said Zyle. "They're real. Earth has extreme weather, dangerous predators, natural disasters, diseases. The environment there would kill most of us within minutes. But these humans not only survived, they thrived. Their bodies can repair extensive damage. They can adapt to almost any environment. And," she hesitated, "they understand conflict. Their history is full of warfare." "You're suggesting we contact savages?" Tella's crystalline form flashed with alarm colors. "I'm suggesting," Zyle said quietly, "that when facing predators, we might need predators of our own." Ambassador Krell stared at the frozen image of the Lumerian woman. 4 million dead already. How many more would follow? He thought of his own homeworld, with its gentle people who had never known violence. Would they be next? "The Coalition Charter forbids contact with quarantined worlds," he said slowly. Then he looked up, his large eyes reflecting the light of distant stars. "But there is nothing in our laws about asking for help when faced with extinction." He stood up, his decision made. "Prepare a first contact team," he ordered. "We're going to Earth." The Coalition scout ship emerged from hyperspace at the edge of the solar system. Captain Nira pressed her face against the observation window, studying the blue-green planet with a mixture of fear and wonder. "Sensors confirm this is Earth," her science officer reported. "Class 12 Death World. Atmosphere contains oxygen, highly corrosive to most species. Surface is 70% water. Gravity is 1.3 times coalition standard. Temperature ranges from -50 to +50 degrees in different regions. Nira shuddered. How could anything survive in such conditions? That's not all, the science officer continued. Look at these readings. Thousands of different predator species, regular natural disasters, diseases that constantly evolve. The ship's communication officer interrupted. Captain, we're picking up transmissions, audio, video, data, thousands of them. The planet is buzzing with signals. Show me, Nira ordered. The main screen filled with images from Earth, humans climbing mountains without safety equipment, humans diving into deep water, humans racing vehicles at deadly speeds, humans eating plants and animals that would poison most galactic species. They're insane, whispered Nira. They do these things for fun. Captain, said the pilot, we've been detected. 3 Earth vessels approaching. Military design. Nira took a deep breath. Open a channel. Let's hope Ambassador Krell was right about these Deathworlders. Alan Garcia stood in the United Nations Security Council chamber, watching the live feed from Space Command. The alien ship was unlike anything humans had ever built, sleek, organic in design, with no visible weapons. What's their status? He asked. General Olivia West checked her tablet. They're maintaining position near the moon. No aggressive movements. They've sent a message in several mathematical sequences that our computers have decoded. They're requesting a meeting. First contact, Garcia said quietly. After all these years of wondering if we were alone. The question is why now, West replied. Our deep space scans have detected unusual activity in nearby systems. Something big is happening out there. The chamber doors opened, and a team of diplomats and scientists hurried in. Garcia turned to address them. Ladies and gentlemen, history is happening today. We need to prepare for our guests. 3 days later, Ambassador Krell and his team stood in the grand meeting room of the United Nations. The air was filtered for their comfort, but the gravity still felt crushingly heavy to their bodies. Across the table sat 5 humans. To Krell, they looked like giants. Their dense muscle structure, solid bones, and confident posture spoke of a species that had evolved to dominate their world rather than live in harmony with it. We welcome you to Earth, said Alan Garcia, his voice carefully modulated to not startle the aliens. This is a historic day for humanity. Krell nodded, his translator converting the gesture into its human equivalent. We thank you for receiving us. Under normal circumstances, the Coalition would have waited until your species had developed further before making contact. Normal circumstances? General West asked. Her sharp eyes noticed how the aliens seemed afraid, not of humans, but of something else. We need your help, Krell said simply. A predator species called the Void Harvesters is consuming worlds throughout our region of space. They destroy everything they touch. The Coalition has no defenses against them. We have no concept of warfare. And you came to us because... Garcia let the question hang in the air. Because you are Deathworlders, Krell replied. You evolved on a planet that would kill most sentient species. Your bodies are natural weapons. Your minds understand conflict. Your history is written in survival. We need warriors, and all our research indicates that humans are the most formidable warriors this sector of the galaxy has ever produced. Garcia and West exchanged glances. You're asking us to fight your war? West asked. I'm asking you to save billions of innocent lives, Krell said. In return, we offer Earth membership in the Galactic Coalition and all the knowledge and technology we possess. Silence fell over the room as the humans considered this offer. If we agree, Garcia said finally, we'll need to know everything about these harvesters, and everything about the worlds we would be protecting. Krell bowed his head in relief. It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no. There is one more thing you should know, the ambassador added. The harvesters have already noticed your system. Whether you help us or not, they will come here eventually. No world is safe from their hunger. 1 month after first contact, the Nevada desert became home to the largest military training facility ever built on Earth. The base sprawled across miles of sand and rock, a place where temperatures swung wildly between day and night, conditions that made the Coalition aliens deeply uncomfortable but felt like home to the human soldiers. Admiral Victor Martinez walked through the main hangar, watching as Coalition engineers worked alongside human technicians. Alien technology was being fitted to Earth's most advanced fighter jets and battleships, upgrading them for space combat. "How's it coming along?" he asked Captain Samantha Collins, who was overseeing the weapons integration. Sam wiped sweat from her forehead. "It's amazing, Stir. Their tech is decades ahead of ours in some ways. These shield generators will give our ships protection we never dreamed possible." She paused. "But they have no concept of weapons. When I asked about targeting systems, the engineer just stared at me like I was speaking another language." "They evolved without predators," Martins replied. "No natural enemies meant no need for aggression." "Lucky them," Sam said quietly. Across the hangar, Lieutenant John Washington was testing a new exosuit. The powered armor increased his strength tenfold and included a breathing system that would allow humans to function in alien atmospheres. As he lifted a 3-ton piece of equipment with ease, a group of Coalition scientists watched in horror and fascination. "Is this normal?" one of them asked Dr. Lisa Powell, the xenobiologist assigned as their liaison. "For humans? Pretty much," Lisa replied. "We've always pushed our bodies to the limit. That's how we survived on Earth." "But why continue once you had technology?" the alien asked. "Why not live in peace?" Lisa considered this. "I guess because we never know when the next threat might come. Like these void harvesters you've told us about." In the medical wing, Dr. Gregory Martinez, no relation to the Admiral, was studying the biological data on the void harvesters. The Coalition had little information, mostly fuzzy scans and second-hand accounts, but it was enough to build a profile. "They're like locusts," he explained to his team. "They strip planets bare, consume everything organic, and move on. But they're not mindless. They have a hive intelligence that learns and adapts." He pulled up an image of a harvester drone. The creature was insectoid, with a hard exoskeleton and multiple limbs ending in razor-sharp appendages. "They evolved in high-radiation environments," he continued. "Their metabolism is incredibly fast, but every species has a weakness. We just need to find theirs." Outside on the training grounds, a group of Coalition volunteers were learning basic self-defense from human instructors. The aliens moved awkwardly, their bodies not built for combat, but they tried their best. "Again," said the instructor patiently. "Remember, if you can't fight, you run. If you can't run, you hide. This is about survival." Admiral Martinez stood on a viewing platform with Ambassador Krell, watching the preparations. "Will it be enough?" Krell asked quietly. "The harvesters have already taken 6 Lumerian worlds. We've received reports they're moving toward the Arcturian system next." "We'll be ready," Martins promised. "The first human fleet will launch in 2 weeks. 20 ships with our best crews." "So few." Krell sounded worried. Martinez smiled grimly. "You'd be surprised what a few humans can do when backed into a corner. We've been fighting against the odds our entire history." Later that evening, as the desert cooled, Sam Collins sat alone on a hill overlooking the base. The stars seemed different now that she knew what was out there. "Mind if I join you?" a voice asked. She looked up to see Zyle, the young alien scientist who had first suggested contacting Earth. "Sure," Sam said, making room. They sat in silence for a moment. "Are you afraid?" Zyle finally asked. Sam thought about it. "Yes," she admitted. "But that's nothing new for us. Humans live with fear all the time. The trick is not letting it stop you." Zyle nodded slowly. "My people have never known war. But yours has never known true peace. I wonder which is the greater burden." Sam had no answer to that. Together, they watched the stars, each wondering what the coming conflict would bring. The starship Defiance cut through the darkness of space, leading a fleet of 20 Earth vessels. Each ship carried a crew of humans and coalition advisors, an uneasy alliance heading toward war. On the bridge, Admiral Martinez studied the holographic map showing their course to Lemurian space. 3 weeks of faster-than-light travel still lay ahead of them. "Status report," he ordered. "All systems normal," Admiral replied, his second-in-command. "Coalition tech is holding up well. Our engines are performing at 120% of projected capacity." Martinez nodded. The alien technology was impressive, even if their weapon systems were not. Combined with human ingenuity, it made for a powerful mix. In the engineering section, Sean Miller worked alongside a Lemurian refugee named Ilara. Her blue skin was dulled by stress, but her 4 eyes remained alert as she helped calibrate the shield generators. "Tell me about your home," Sean said as they worked. He had found that talking helped the frightened aliens feel more at ease around humans. Ilara's voice was soft. "Lemuria was mostly ocean. Our cities float on the water, following the warm currents. The sky turns purple at sunset, and the 3 moons rise together." She paused. "My family lived in the capital. I don't know if they're still alive." Sean wanted to promise her they would save her people, but he wasn't one for empty words. Instead, he said, "Show me how to adjust this power coupling again. I want to get it right." Throughout the ship, similar scenes played out. Humans and aliens learning from each other, building bridges across vast differences. But tensions remained. In the mess hall, a coalition observer named Trill watched in horror as 2 human soldiers engaged in a sparring match. To his eyes, their practice fight looked brutal and savage. "How can they do that to each other?" he asked Dr. Lisa Powell, who sat nearby. "They're supposed to be allies." Lisa smiled. "It's how we train. The pain teaches us to be better, faster." She could see Trill didn't understand. "Think of it this way. On Earth, even our friends sometimes hurt us, and our enemies definitely will. We learn to handle both." In the tactical room, Captain Collins led daily briefings on harvester behavior patterns. The coalition had provided what little information they had, and human military strategists filled in the gaps with theories based on Earth predators. "They attack in swarms," Sam explained to her team. "No individual thinking, but a collective intelligence that adapts quickly. They'll learn our tactics after the first encounter." "So we need to keep changing our approach," suggested Lieutenant Washington. "Exactly," Sam agreed. "Unpredictability is our advantage. These harvesters have never faced humans before. They won't know what to expect." On the 10th day of their journey, the fleet's sensors detected an unidentified object drifting near their path. "Harvester scout ship," confirmed the sensor officer. "Damage. Minimal life signs detected." Admiral Martinez saw an opportunity. "Captain Collins, prepare a boarding party. Let's see what we can learn." Sam gathered her team. 6 soldiers in exosuits designed to protect against unknown environments. Lieutenant Washington would lead the engineering aspect of the mission. "The atmosphere inside will be toxic," warned a coalition advisor. "Perhaps we should send drones instead." "Drones can't improvise," Sam replied, checking her weapon. "Humans can." The boarding party docked with the derelict ship. Inside, they found a nightmarish scene. The corridors were lined with organic material that pulsed like living tissue. Dead harvester drones lay scattered about, their exoskeletons cracked open. "Something went wrong here," Washington observed, scanning the ship's systems. "Some kind of internal conflict, maybe." Sam knelt beside one of the dead creatures. Up close, the harvester was even more terrifying. Nearly 9 feet tall, with multiple limbs, and a head that was mostly mouth parts. "Look at these claws," she said, "designed for tearing and rending. These things evolved to kill." A sudden sound made them all turn, weapons raised. From the shadows emerged a wounded harvester drone, dragging itself toward them with murderous intent. Without hesitation, Sam fired her weapon. The drone collapsed, dead. Get all the data you can, she ordered her team. Ship layouts, biological samples, technology. We need every advantage we can get. When they returned to the Defiance, they brought with them something invaluable: knowledge of the enemy. The first real glimpse into what they would soon be facing. Admiral Martinez studied the findings with a grim expression. Now we know what we're up against, he said quietly. And they're every bit as dangerous as we feared. The Lumerian colony world of Korath hung in space like a blue jewel. From orbit, it looked peaceful, but the fleet's sensors told a different story. 7 harvester ships in orbit, reported the tactical officer. They're deploying mining equipment to the surface. The planet's crust is already breaking up in the southern hemisphere. Admiral Martinez studied the tactical display. How many Lumerians still on the surface? Approximately 3 million, replied Ambassador Krell, his voice tight with concern. Mostly in the northern cities. The harvesters always start from the least populated areas and work their way toward population centers. Martinez made his decision. Captain Collins, prepare all fighters for launch. Lieutenant Washington, your ground team will drop near the capital city and begin evacuation. The coalition advisors looked alarmed. Admiral, one said, shouldn't we observe first? Learn their patterns. While 3 million people die. Martinez shook his head. That's not how humans operate. We're going in now. Within minutes, the hangar bays of the Earth fleet opened. Fighters streamed out, piloted by humans whose reaction times were 3 times faster than any coalition species. At the controls of the lead fighter, Sam Collins felt the familiar rush of adrenaline. All wings, form up, she ordered. Remember your training. These aren't Earth enemies. They don't think like us, but they bleed like us. Find their weak points and hit hard. The harvester ships were massive, organic-looking vessels with jutting spines and carapace-like armor. They seemed to notice the human fleet for the first time, turning their attention away from the planet. They're powering weapons, reported Sam's wingman. Evasive maneuvers, she commanded. Pattern Delta. The human fighters split apart, moving in ways that defied conventional space tactics. Where coalition pilots would have flown in orderly formations, humans zigged and zagged unpredictably, making them nearly impossible to target. The first harvester shots missed completely. The return fire from the human vessels did not. On the surface, Washington's team landed in the outskirts of the capital city. The sky above was filled with the flashes of space combat. Frightened Lumerians stared at the humans in their exosuits, not sure if these new aliens were saviors or just a different kind of threat. We're here to help, Washington told them, his translator converting his words. We need to move everyone to the evacuation points. A Lumerian city official stepped forward. Who are you? We're humans, Washington replied simply. From Earth. Recognition dawned on the alien's face. The Deathworlders, the coalition found. Before Washington could respond, the ground shook violently. In the distance, a massive drill broke through the surface. A harvester landing craft had touched down and was beginning to consume the planet. We need to move, Washington urged. Now. In orbit, the battle intensified. The harvesters, surprised at first by human tactics, were adapting quickly. Their ships began to coordinate their fire, making evasion harder. They're learning, Sam warned her squadron. Switch to pattern Omega. Inside the Defiance, Dr. Lisa Powell was monitoring the harvester communications they'd captured from the scout ship. She noticed something strange in the patterns. Admiral, she called over the comm. I think I've found something. Their neural systems are highly sensitive to certain sound frequencies, ones that fall outside normal coalition hearing ranges, but well within human tolerance. Can we weaponize it? Martinez asked. I think so, Lisa replied. We could modify our communication arrays to broadcast these frequencies. It might disrupt their hive-mind connection. Martinez gave the order immediately. Do it. On the surface, Washington's team encountered their first harvester ground forces, 12-foot-tall insectoid creatures moving with frightening speed toward the city. The human soldiers took defensive positions, their weapons ready. "Remember, aim for the joints," Washington told his team. "Their exoskeletons are strongest at the center of body segments." The harvesters attacked in a coordinated wave, but they had never faced humans in ground combat before. They were unprepared for the speed, adaptability, and sheer determination of Deathworlders who had evolved on a planet where survival was never guaranteed. When the first wave was repelled, the Lumerians looked at the humans with new eyes, seeing not just savages, but protectors. In space, Dr. Powell's sonic weapon was deployed. The effect was immediate. The harvester ships began to move erratically, their coordinated attack patterns breaking down. 3 months had passed since the Battle of Korath. In that time, the human fleet had defended 4 more coalition worlds from harvester attacks. Word of the Deathworlders spread throughout the galaxy. Hope began to grow where before there had been only fear. But the harvesters were adapting. Each battle became harder than the last. On the bridge of the Defiance, Admiral Martinez studied the latest intelligence reports. The main harvester fleet, hundreds of ships, had gathered near the Lumerian homeworld. "They're learning," he told his officers. "Our tactics work less effectively each time. The sonic disruption still affects them, but they've started shielding their command ships." "So we need something new," Captain Collins said. She had just returned from leading a fighter squadron in the defense of Arcturian mining colonies. Her face was tired but determined. "We've received reports from our scouts," Martinez continued. "The harvester fleet is centered around a massive ship, almost twice the size of anything we've seen before. We believe it's their command node." Dr. Powell, who had been studying harvester biology nonstop since their first encounter, spoke up. "If we can disable that ship, the entire hive mind might be disrupted." "But how do we get close enough?" Lieutenant Washington asked. "Their defenses will be strongest around their command ship." Martinez smiled grimly. "We do what humans have always done when faced with superior numbers. We get creative." The plan was audacious, a multi-vector assault that required split-second timing and perfect coordination. The coalition military advisors called it impossible. The human commanders called it necessary. "Your ships will attack from 6 different directions," Martinez explained to the gathered captains. "Each approach vector will face different defenses. Some of you will get through, and the rest won't," someone said quietly. Martinez nodded. "That's the risk. But we only need one team to reach the command ship with the sonic disruptors." Captain Collins would lead the main assault team. As she prepared her fighter, Engineer Sean Miller approached her. "Sam," he said, using her first name despite military protocol. "Ilara wanted me to give you this." He handed her a small blue crystal. "What is it?" Sam asked. "A Lumerian luck charm," Sean explained. "Her family has carried them for generations. She said her people believe it guides you home safely." Sam smiled and tucked the crystal into her suit. "Tell her I'll bring it back personally." The battle began at what Earth clocks would call dawn. 20 human ships against hundreds of harvester vessels. The odds were terrible, but humanity had faced terrible odds before. The human fleet split into 6 groups and attacked simultaneously. The harvesters responded with overwhelming force, but their attention was divided. In her fighter, Sam led her squadron toward the massive command ship. All around her, human vessels fought and died to create this opening. "Stick to the plan," she told her pilots. "No matter what happens, get the disruptors to the target." The space around the command ship was chaos. Harvester fighters swarmed like angry insects. Sam's squadron took heavy losses, but they pressed forward. "I'm hit," called one of her wingmen as his ship spiraled away. "Keep going," Sam ordered, though each loss felt like a physical blow. When they finally reached the command ship's outer hull, only 3 fighters remained. Sam's own ship was damaged, one engine failing. "We need to find a way inside," she told the survivors. "Look for access points or damage we can exploit." They found a docking bay, its defensive systems focused outward on the larger battle. Sam landed her fighter in a shower of sparks, the damaged engines giving out completely. "We'll never take off again in this," she told her team. "So we make this count." They carried the sonic disruptors through the alien ship's corridors. The interior was like being inside a living thing. Walls that pulsed, floors that seemed to breathe. They encountered harvester drones and fought their way through, using the tight spaces to negate the alien size advantage. Sam was separated from her team during a fierce firefight. A harvester claw slashed her suit, cutting deep into her shoulder. Pain flared, but she ignored it. Humans could fight through pain. It was one of their greatest strengths. Alone, bleeding, she continued toward the ship's central chamber, determined to complete the mission or die trying. In her hand, the blue crystal seemed to grow warmer. Sam Collins pressed her hand against the wound in her shoulder, trying to stop the bleeding as she moved deeper into the Harvester command ship. The corridors pulsed with an eerie light, and strange sounds echoed all around her. She checked her tracker. The ship's central chamber was close. That's where she needed to place the sonic disruptor. "Collins, to any surviving team members," she whispered into her comm. There was no response. She was on her own. A sound ahead made her freeze. 3 harvester drones blocked the path to the central chamber. Each stood nearly 12 feet tall, their insectoid bodies covered in natural armor stronger than steel. Sam knew she couldn't defeat them in direct combat, not in her injured state. Instead, she did what humans do best. She adapted. Removing a small device from her belt, she tossed it down a side corridor. The flashbang exploded with blinding light and deafening sound. As the harvesters turned toward the distraction, Sam slipped past them, moving with a speed born of desperation. The central chamber was massive, a dome-shaped space filled with organic technology. At its center stood a pulsing structure that looked like a giant brain connected to thousands of nerve-like tendrils that spread throughout the ship. "The hive mind nexus," Sam whispered, recognizing it from Dr. Powell's briefings. She began setting up the sonic disruptor, her fingers slippery with blood. The device was designed to emit the specific frequencies that would disrupt the harvester's neural pathways. Behind her, the drones detected her presence. They charged into the chamber, mandibles clicking in fury. Sam finished the final connection and activated the disruptor. A high-pitched whine filled the air, inaudible to most coalition species, but clear to human ears. The harvester drones stumbled, their coordinated movements becoming jerky and uncontrolled. "Martinez," Sam called into her comm. "Disruptor is active. Hit them now." In space, the Defiance and the remaining human ships launched their final assault. The Harvester fleet, suddenly losing its perfect coordination, began to fire erratically. "All ships, concentrate fire on the command vessel," ordered Admiral Martinez. As the disruptor's effect spread through the hive mind, Sam felt the ship shudder around her. Emergency alarms blared. She knew she had minutes at most to escape. Her path back to the landing bay was blocked by fallen debris. With no way out, Sam did the only thing she could. She kept moving forward, searching for any escape route. She found an emergency pod, similar to the escape pods on human ships. Pain clouded her vision as she pulled herself inside and activated the launch sequence. The pod ejected from the dying command ship just as the first explosions began to tear it apart. From her small viewpoint, Sam watched as the massive Harvester command ship broke into pieces. Without its controlling influence, the rest of the Harvester fleet fell into disarray. Some ships crashed into each other. Others fled in random directions. The human fleet, though reduced to less than half its original size, pressed the advantage. One by one, the Harvester ships were destroyed or driven away.